So Dachau is northwest of Munich, kind of a rural area then, more suburbanized now. To the right center there, that rectangle is where the actual prison layout was. Those lines are where the barracks were. To the left is where the SS lived, and they trained here in relative comfort, learning how to execute people. So a 3D model here of the camp itself. So the left there, the SS were using this ideally as their model for how to go out into Europe and start murdering people. So the entrance to the camp is right here. This was liberated by the U.S. Rainbow Division in late April of '45. And on the gate, you see that on a lot of concentration camp gates. It means work makes you free in German, kind of the cruel joke. So this was where the barracks were. These are recreations of the barracks. The assembly area where the prisoners were brought out, and then these buildings here, where a nice memorial stands now, is where the administration and prison itself was located. So this was originally opened as a regular prison, filled with political enemies and anybody that was a criminal, common criminal, but it became more of a death camp as the war went on. So prisoners were brought here to this processing center to begin with, disinfected, and their suffering began. This is a flogging table. Behaving prisoners were bent over that table and flogged with that stick, among other things. So the prison area, just like out of the movies, kind of a long, spooky hallway with stone, brick, and heavy wooden doors behind which prisoners that were being punished for specific infractions were kept. And this guy tried to assassinate Hitler in the late 30s, obviously failed. He was captured, brought here. They're not sure why they didn't execute him outright. He was executed as the war drew to a close, but kept in this cell in pretty miserable conditions along with the rest of the prisoners. So next to the camp was a factory, and prisoners were brought here to perform slave labor on behalf of the Nazis. Their suffering is depicted in this sketch by one of the prisoners. So they made all kinds of things, including nice porcelain, to be sold to benefit the war effort. So some prisoners did have a chance of getting out, and they wrote letters to family members, but a lot of prisoners, as the war went on, were not so lucky. Some were tortured in the name of experiments. In this one, they tested how long a pilot could survive in cold water by using a prisoner as the guinea pig. So the actual barracks were on these locations where these rectangles on the ground are, large kind of column in the middle. The barracks, as you can imagine, were very cramped, overloaded towards the end. Not a nice place to try and survive. Disease became a problem. The edge of the camp here, electrified wire could kill you, as could the guard from that tower. If you stepped on that grass, you could be shot. So this building was actually right on the outskirts of the camp. The prisoners didn't even know it was here, except for the ones that worked here. And what they did here was they would bring you in to one end, tell you you're going to get showers, take your clothes off, and then herd you into these rooms. The shower room there, the word Brausbad is the term for the shower. But you can see by that heavy metal door there, that's kind of unusual for just a shower room. That's because they would shut that door behind you, and they would open up these vents and drop poison gas in, and after about half an hour, everybody in the room would be dead. They would open the vents up, and the prisoners that actually worked here doing this duty would come in, remove the bodies, and bring them to these ovens for cremation. And you can see there's 3 ovens, which meant they planned on a large volume of murder. So there's dispute as to how many people actually died in this gas chamber, but most of the evidence is there was a lot. This is a mass grave, actually. It looks like a nice little bush there, but right in those woods was a mass grave. And right down the street, the SS used this estate for rifle range. So they did a rifle practice here. And in addition, they would bring Russian prisoners of war here from the camp. They would line them up right in this area here, and they would shoot them. So about 4,000 Russian POWs died here during the course of the war. So back at Dachau, this is a memorial chapel. There's actually a church here too, a functioning church where people still come to worship.